Tired, weary, frustrated? What would you be doing if you weren't raising children alone? What's stopping you from living your best life now? On SoloMoms Talk, I discuss with solo mothers the challenges you face raising children alone. So if you're a working solo mom dealing with independent children, insensitive bosses, weight and health issues, or even debt collectors, join us as we discover your path to get and stay healthy, increase your income, and live with joy and purpose.
In this battle of life, it's hard to keep your head above the water. So win this fight.
Today I'm speaking with Scott Feld, and we're going to talk about solo moms and how, tips and strategies for dealing with their kids.
Yeah.
Welcome, Scott.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here.
Sure. And before we delve into what you do, can you tell us who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So Scott Feld, I live in San Diego, California. I own and run a company called Minds in Motion, which is MINDZEN Motion. And Minds in Motion does really life skill mindset courses for tweens and teens. And I do it in an engaging, interactive way. I've spent 25 plus years running a party company here in San Diego. And the party company is all my creation. And so I really know how to engage kids in different ways. It doesn't feel like school. It doesn't feel like study, but it gives them powerful tools that they can use in their lives when they're dealing with the circumstances, conditions, obligations, whatever it might be, where they feel disempowered. Like, the world kind of has control of them and they don't have the control. Well, I shift that for them. I change that so that they work from the inside out instead of the outside in. And I do that through power parties and power quests and power speaking. And then finally, I'm also an author, and I wanted to take care of the younger kids. Since my programs are for tweens and teens, I have my own 6-year-old son. I wanted him to have these skills, these tools early on. So I wrote Dax to the Max. And Dax to the Max is my new best-selling book, all about using the power of your imagination when something scares you. So imagination versus fear, and imagination wins out if you use it correctly. And so that's our book, and it's the first in a series of books. And it's also currently being written and pitched for a KPBS TV show.
Oh, awesome. Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, who doesn't love a party? And kids certainly do, right?
Yeah.
So that's a great way to engage them, especially teenagers, and in the way you are approaching it. I kind of like that.
Thank you.
So tell us about that and why teenagers? I mean, you're a grown man with a young son.
Yeah.
So I always want to know why.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I have tons of experience working with teenagers in my party company that I've had. And that party company, took a huge COVID hit. People were no longer having parties like instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had to really take my own medicine, which means I had to use my own imagination once again to create an opportunity for myself. And so I am a mindset junkie. Like, all I do is listen and read and study different types of mindset training, whether it be a personal development coach, a life skill coach, a philosopher, a spiritual leader. I like to mishmash it all together in my brain so that I have a lot of things. So I wanted to take all of this experience that I had with kids, and specifically teenagers and tweens, because that's who I work with a lot in the party company. And I wanted to take all the studying and all the information that I put into my brain, and I wanted to create this company that delivered something that could make a huge difference, because we really saw that the studies showed us kids were falling into further depression. They were already anxious. They had anxiety. They already were comparing themselves to others. they already felt like the future did not look bright for the most part. It just looked hard and difficult and stressful. And so I thought, I have the answers actually. So I need to find a way to give them those answers. And it had to be in a way that they were going to get it. So I'm doing the Power Quest, do the Power Parties. The nice thing about the Power Quest is they can be international. So I just finished one in Australia because it can be online, right?
Right.
But they can be private. We have open forum ones. The Power Parties are live a bit. So I'm really happy that we're really coming out of the pandemic. It appears, and we can now do these Power Parties. And so the other thing about it, though, is they need, kids, whether, I don't care how old they are. I mean, 14 and 15-year-olds, they're still kids, whether they think so or not. They still like to play. So we created this. I'm just going to reach over and grab this thing real quick. So I created this thing called a Power Box. So every time they do something, they get some different props. So when we talked about the proper use of your imagination, we do it with Play-Doh. Because Play-Doh is a lot of fun. First of all, get it out of here. And when I hand them this, I go, look, that's just, a ball of Play-Doh, right? This was already somebody's own imagination. I understand it was by accident, but still imagination. But now you can actually think, what do I want this to be? What do I want this to be? And then you can start molding it. Well, this is how I tell them they can do their life. What do you want? How do you want this certain thing to be for you? Not how is it? So here comes the test, right? And the regular occurrences, depending on if you prepared, you studied, you know the stuff, it's either going to be or a little bit nervous or excited.
Yeah.
Okay. So why not just create what you want it to be, right? It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be fun. And I'm going to do the preparation because that's going to be a game for me. And I'm going to time myself in 5 or 10 minute blocks to see how much study I can get, how much information I can retain. And then I'm going to go take a 5 or 10 minute break and do something that I really love. And then I'm going to come back to it. This is creating how you want the experience to be, instead of the experience just being what normal and no fault of their own, what parents and teachers will say to the kids is, you need to go study for 2 hours, 3 hours, do your, all that. But that's not fun. What's fun is having a glider, and the glider being your conscious and your subconscious mind, and you getting them to work together. So you're not saying, I really want to go to a great college, or I really want to get great grades, or I really want to make that team, and I really want to do that thing. But you have this other voice inside of you going, no chance, you can't do it. It's too scary. It's too hard. No. That's all you. Let's get those two working together. So you give yourself the affirmations because, no, I can do it. I will do it. And here's a process for me to do it, like the games I had mentioned. So that's the kind of stuff we do. We put on our power glasses. This is when you power shift. So when you're sad, right, you're ready to not be sad anymore, go ahead and put these babies on. We stick some emojis around them so that you know you're moving into happiness and joy. Once again, you don't have to be stuck in sadness. You don't have to wait for something to change on the outside. So you have the power within to go change that. And that's what I want kids to know, because now when they get the power and they're working from the inside out, it's a different ballgame. They're no longer at the effect of the world.
I like how you approach allowing them to speak their own truth, to talk about what they want. Because like you said, a lot of times we as parents just want to tell them what they need to do.
Absolutely, right? And our parents did it to us, and it worked out however it worked out. But even if our parents are telling us what to do, the power comes from agreeing.
Yeah.
Like, what your special gifts are, your unique gifts. You know what you love. Now, those can be squashed in an instant by everybody telling you, go do this. This is the safe way. And that can be an unfulfilling, unhappy life. Unless you agree. You go, oh, they know me. I trust them. That is what I want to do. Let me go down that road and try it, right? Let me see what that feels like. But not being afraid to say, you know what? It doesn't feel right to me. I want to be an artist. I want to be a musician. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a teacher. It's different than what others told me to be. That's what I want, right? I mean, you doing this podcast, you did it. You stepped out. Nobody was like, you should go to school and become a podcast host, right? You stepped out and you created that for yourself.
Yeah.
right? This is what I did for myself, and this is what I can show others to do for themselves as well, and have a very successful, happy life, whatever
Right.
success means to them.
Yeah. And how do you help the parents, and especially a mom mothering alone? How do you
Yes.
help them to see what you're doing and how it benefits not just that teen or child, but the family as a unit?
Yeah, it's absolutely great question. I know that's the whole idea of this show. So when the kids feel empowered, you're going to have less issue, trouble, upset, turning into arguments and stuff like that with them, because they have a purpose. They're doing something that they're creating, they're enjoying, and the conversations can then be different. So if the mom is kind of feeling nervous and anxious that their kid is not going to turn out to be great or whatever, then that's how they act towards them. They're like, hurry up, make sure you do all your homework, do it, and they're talking
Yeah.
at them.
Yeah.
And when they're talking at them, it's a cause and effect thing, right? If you're doing that, you're causing your kids anxiety because they're like, my mom who's closest to me doesn't think, it occurs like she doesn't think I can do this or do that. It doesn't sound that supportive. It sounds worrisome. Well, I'm going to be worried.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they can change the conversation with their kids. By their kids getting these tools and be empowered, the parents become empowered. The mom becomes empowered. Now, instead of one kind of working, it almost feels like they're working against each other. They're now working together, and they're creating together, and they get to share together.
Yeah.
And it's reciprocal. Like the teenager, the kid can also support mom. Once they get this, they go, hey, wait, mom, what do you want? What's missing for
Yeah.
you? What would you like to have? Do you have what you want? How can I support you? Excuse
Yeah.
me, and the relationship changes.
Hello, SoloMoms. Do you want an easy and proven way to experience better mood and less anxiety? Even if you think you're too busy with work and family responsibilities, you owe it to yourself to take care of your mental health. Join my easy 5-day gratitude journaling challenge. Studies show that writing down what you're grateful for increase positivity, improve your mood, and help you sleep better. Sleep better? Better sleep? Oh my goodness. But that's only the beginning. Give yourself the gift of better mental health. Learn how you can incorporate gratitude journaling into your life without added stress or overwhelm. Click the link below to sign up for this challenge now and get a free 100-page gratitude journal printable just for signing up. Join the challenge today because your mental health is too important to ignore.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds doable because when it comes down to it, I'm guessing, and from my experience, we all want the same thing, both parent and child.
Right.
We just fail to express it the same ways, or
Yeah.
in a way that works without arguing and throwing stuff all over the place or people running away from
Yeah.
home. Just if we can approach it in a more, and this is a self-centered way, because now we're focusing on your needs, child, and we're focus, but mom needs to understand that by focusing on the child's need, that you're helping everybody. You're helping mom and you're helping the family as a unit. So
No, that's very well said, and it comes down to awareness. It comes down to
yeah,
knowing something that you didn't know before.
yeah,
And so when you have a new way of doing something, when you learn and hear and see a new way, and then you're able to kind of implement that and try it on. I always tell the kids and the parents when I speak to them, I go like, I'm the clothing store. You get to come to me and you get to try on things, new ideas. You get to see how they work. Go wear it for a week, right? Check it out with your friends and your family. See if this works for you, if it feels good, if it looks good. And if it does, it's yours. Use it. Wear it whenever you want. Or don't,
yes,
but you now have a choice. Whereas it
right.
occurred before, it was one way or the highway. Now it feels
Yeah,
like, which path do I want to go on for this one? right? And you can even see, you can have the end in mind. If I yell and scream and force it, my kid is going to move further away from me and ultimately look for escapes to get away from me. Okay, wait, is that what I want? I don't think that's what I want at the end of this path. Or if I do it this other way, this way that Scott showed me, or I got seen, shown some other way, this way where the end result looks like my kid can talk to me, we can connect, we can work together to create what he or she really wants. And in return, my life is going to be easier, because one of the things I want as a mom is I've been through a lot maybe. I want like calm. I want a little bit like peace. I want support. I want connection. Well, that's what's available at the end of this other path. Now choose. But if you only see the one path, there is no choice.
Yes.
I like to tell the kids when I work with them, and I told this group of parents of teenagers the other day, I said, I have a board and I have a nail. And my biggest goal, the only thing that I want is that nail into that board. So I keep tapping it with my finger. And I've been doing this for a long time, over and over, and that nail just doesn't seem to move, but my finger hurts, but I really want to get that nail in. And then all of a sudden, somebody walks up and shows me this thing. This has a handle and a metal thing, and they go, why don't you use this? Try this on. Try it out. And it's the hammer. And I start hitting it, and pretty soon that nail's just going in. My goal is easier, so much easier, but I was unaware of a thing called a hammer. Well, this is the same thing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that analogy. Pretty good. So tell us about how you help with younger kids. Yeah, tell us about that process.
Yeah. So, my own son, who just turned 6, is Dax, and this is Dax to the max. And so he really looks just like this kid too. He has long blonde California hair and stuff. And he's a sweet boy. He's in kindergarten. Yeah. No, he doesn't surf yet, but he has the image of a surfer. So, like I said, I really wanted something for the younger kids, but I knew that even with the Play-Doh and the toys and all that, it wasn't going to register. I've just worked with kids long enough to know that it wasn't going to. So when I work with the Play-Doh with the teens and tweens, it's play with a purpose. So we tell them, like, the Play-Doh isn't for Play-Doh. The Play-Doh is for you to understand how your imagination can work. Well, that's a lot for a 5 and 6-year-old, right? And so I wanted to put it in a book format. My own son loves reading, loves books, loves us reading to him. And it kind of instills, hey, if I can get something out of this book, I might want to read more books, type thing for kids. And we want to instill that in them. So with the younger kids, this book it's an interactive experience. So Dax the Max is a story about how Dax learns to use his imagination by looking at the clouds. You know how we all looked at the clouds and we've gone, oh, what do you see in that cloud? What do you see in that cloud? Well, that's the preface to learning how to use the imagination. And then a message appears in the clouds that sends him to a cave. Now, there's an old saying that is, the cave that you fear to enter holds the jewels that you seek. I don't know if you ever heard that, but that's the analogy of the cave. So he goes to the cave, and first of all, he's afraid to go to the cave. He has a guide, like a babysitter, Lauren, who's with him, and she's been through this, but he has to experience it himself. And then inside the cave is that fear, that thing that he wants. It's a grizzly bear. And the grizzly bear, the more he thinks about how scary the bear is, the scarier the bear gets, starts showing its teeth and stuff like that. And Lauren, who is really just his inner voice, is telling him, look, there's another way. You don't have to think afraid when you are confronted by a fear, right? You can think happy, excited, challenging. I can do this. You can change it. That's the power of your imagination, right? It's such a huge human faculty. And so at the moment where the fear is about to consume him and he's just going to run away, he just can't take it anymore. He gives it a try. He goes into the imagination, and sure enough, Fredley, which is what we named the fear, is the bear. Fredley turns into an animated, fun, happy bear.
Oh, I like that. That's fun.
Isn't that
I want to read it.
Yeah. Well, it's on Amazon, Dax to the Max. But prior to that, fear looks like this.
Yeah.
But once you use your imagination, so you don't want to go to that new school, you're worried about those new friends, you can't go across the monkey bars because you're afraid of what might happen, you can change it. You actually have the power to change it from the inside out. It doesn't change. And I always tell kids when I read it to them, I go, you have to notice, Fredley didn't change himself. Dax changed Fredley.
Yeah.
He changed what the fear is to him. And so he got his superpower, his first inner superpower, which we call your ISPs. Instead of your ESP, you get ISP, inner superpowers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the inner superpower beats down the stinking thinking. The stinking thinking is the fear. It's that thinking that you don't want, but it's always there, right? You want to get rid of it. Here comes that. Once you become aware that you have this inner superpower and how to use it, the battle begins and the inner superpower dissolves the stinking thinking and it goes away. And now you have access to do the thing that you wanted to do. Right? Instead of
Yeah.
having the fear win, you win over the fear. And that's the purpose and the point of this. It being interactive, at the back of it, we have all these things for kids to do. We have a 24-page activity book coming. You can write in and say, about your own inner superpowers. What inner superpowers would you like Dax to have?
Yeah, that's pretty neat. So in both cases, you empower the child to take charge, to take responsibility for their own thinking, because
Yeah,
they have control over that, right?
we have control over that,
Yeah.
and even that word, they can be responsible for it. And I've had kids say to me, when he uses that term, like, that's a lot of responsibility. And I go, oh, no, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, no. All it does is free you up. How? By giving you a choice now.
Yeah.
You didn't have a choice. Look, you don't want to use your imagination. You don't have to. But you didn't have a choice before, like my hammer and my finger. Now I don't have to use the hammer, right? So when they say it's a lot of responsibility, I go, no, it's the opposite. It's a lot
Yeah.
of freedom.
Yeah, I like that. I really like it. So how can we get in touch with you? We know we can get Dax to the Max on Amazon. And we'll
Yes.
put a link in the show notes for that.
Thank
Tell
you.
us how we could reach you and how parents could get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, my website is mindsinmotion.com and it's spelled MINDZEN motion, MOTION.com .com. And then info at mindsinmotion.com is the best email to get a hold of me. And you can do that from the website as well. And, the different things that we offer, again, are private and open form quests, which are usually about a 6-week period of time, 2
Okay.
calls or 2 visits per week. The Power Party is a one-time thing. It can be 2, 4, 6 hours, comes with music, all the games, interactive, totally fun. Private ones only for those. So you just kind of book your own private one with your group. It might be a team, might be a community, might be a school group, whatever it is. And you can even have parents involved in it. So the moms can come join it with their kids so they can get empowered and see what their kids are doing. So very
Mm-hmm.
flexible. And then I also do power speaking, which means online or live. I can come and speak to all the moms, or I can speak to the kids, or I can speak to the moms and kids on a certain topic if they have something that they're specifically dealing with. And then I do a very limited number of private coaching as well. So if anybody really
Okay.
wants just to do it privately, I can do that too. And again, just info at mindsinmotion.com, and happy to just have a free conversation with you and just see if what I do can support and help anybody that's out there.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll put some links down the show notes so people have access to that. What is Scott grateful for today?
Oh, well, I'm grateful for so many things, but currently I'm super grateful for my health. I was dealing with some stomach issues and literally just using, as foofy as sometimes it sounds to people, just really thinking about health and just wanting health, and then kind of intuitively making some of the changes, which included a little change in exercise, increasing it a bit, and also just avoiding a couple different foods. It literally within a couple days went away. And I just feel so light, so grateful, and so free, because when you've been through the experience, you don't want it anymore, right? Because it brings you
No.
down, it drags you down. You can't eat, you don't feel that good, and
Yeah.
it wasn't something so serious. I just didn't know what it was. So I'm going to go with just my health today.
Yeah.
As the
Yeah.
primary thing, but so many things really.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And give us one piece of advice. Give a solo mom one piece of advice, and surrounding what you do, your work, what you do, and from your experience, what one thing solo mom could do to make their child's life easier from your point of view, like from
Yeah.
your.
Yeah, you can make your child's life easier by growing yourself. And growing yourself means being open and looking for new options. If something's not working, right? What is that saying about, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, looking for a new result. You
Mm-hmm.
want, if there's something that's not working in the relationship with your kid, or, with your kid's performance, or whatever it might be, look for a new way, because we get fixed. We get stuck on a way, and then we blame on the result, but we forget to go back to the cause, right? There's always the
Yes.
cause and the effect. What is happening because of some catalyst, something else. So what's a different way? And I always say, for the kids and the parents as well, is like, do you have mentors? Like, is there somebody you look up to, either,
Mm-hmm.
alive or whatever, not alive anymore? What would their view be? What would they do? Right? So one lady was like, she loved Martin Luther King. And I was like, well, what would he do? Like, this is a small problem for Martin Luther King, right? He did some much, much bigger things. What do you think he would think or do in this situation? What about
Yeah.
this other person? And then, pick the one that you like the best. But really just be open to new ways of thinking and new ways of doing things. And that's a lot of what I share with people, is I give them eye-opening awareness. So they go, oh, that's a great way to do it. Let me try that.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Scott Feld, for coming and talking to us today. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
SoloMoms Talk was designed to curate the stories of SoloMoms globally. As a facilitator of this platform, I aim to create a peaceful environment where you can share your heart, feel loved, and get the advice you need. So if this sounds like you, why not RSVP for our next virtual meetup? The link is below. It's where you can retreat from the chaos of your life so you can recharge, connect with other moms, and get answers to your burning questions. Remember, you're not alone and you don't have to parent in silence.